Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining me this evening. Tonight, I have a very special guest who was a former member of provincial parliament, a man who decided to choose his principles over a paycheck and truly stand for the constituents he represents. However, he didn't do so without some severe consequences. Tonight, we're going to discuss his court case and where it's headed towards. Please welcome Randy Hillier. Thanks for joining us today, Randy. How are you doing?
It's a pleasure to join you. It's a nice, warm and cozy at Scuttlebutt Lodge. We've just had a first skiff of snow in Lanark County, and the wood stove is on, and things are cozy in this bizarre world. The world of lawfare and of a legal machine and monster that is attacking so many people in Canada today.
Last week, you were back in Ottawa to answer to your charges that stem back from the Freedom Convoy. And I understand that you have decided to remove your legal counsel from the record. And I was just going to have you explain why you decided to make this decision and maybe what you do want to share with us, what the plan is moving forward.
Well, I have put out a video from that day in court. It's called the Legal System Fighting Against the Machine and the Monster. And I think that really, I realized, and I should have realized this much sooner, but I didn't. The legal system is predatory. And although there are some good defense lawyers, they are the exception, not the rule. And defense lawyers and the Crown both significantly benefit by extending out the process. They all benefit, whether it's through prestige or whether it's through financial undertakings. The longer that they can make this process happen, the better it is for the machine. It is far worse for the accused or the individual who is feeding this machine with their hard-earned money. And I spent many, many tens of thousands of dollars so far on mischief and trumped up assault charges. And the only thing that I was absolutely certain of at the end of this process would be that I would be bankrupted. My wife and I of 43 years would be homeless. And that is regardless of whether I was guilty or innocent. The machine was going to destroy me. And this is not unique to me. We've seen this with so many others. We're seeing with Tamara Leach, with Chris Barber. We saw it with Steve Vardy, with Evan Blackman, Jerry Charlevoix. Names great and small are being preyed upon by this machine, this legal machine. And I chose not to feed this machine any longer, that I was not going to be exploited, and neither would I be a victim of this machine, and that I would fight back on my own. And there's a part of this, Rob, that I think I want to expand on just a little bit, because we've seen a great many people, myself included, who were requiring to go to the public and seek donations to fund their legal defense. And, you know, there is estimates now that, for example, the Leach and Barber trial may be upwards of $1 million in cost. You know, so we're not only bankrupting the individually accused, but if they're receiving funding from others, we're taking hard-earned money from people from all walks of life to ostensibly to help the accused, but also inadvertently or unseen is to continue to grow this monster in this machine that is attacking us. Mm-hmm. And that was the realization for me that I am not going to feed this machine any longer. I am going to fight back and make them carry the burden and the cost, not the everyday Canadians who support me or my family. these guys have to pay the price now, not just Canadians.
That's right. And I just wanted to touch base about, the alleged assault on an officer that we're talking about. I actually looked up an article last night from our very trusty sources over at the Canadian Broadcasting Center over there, the CBC. And I just wanted to read it to you quickly here, Randy. So it said in the CBC, during his court appearance Monday, the Crown alleged that Hillier used his shoulder and hip to check a parliamentary police service officer out of the way after moving a metal gate. Now, I've seen this video, and I'm going to play it for you all right now so you can see it and be the judge of what happened.
Let's go! Go! Let's go! Go!
Any physical interaction between myself and the parliamentary police or parliamentary security people. But the Ottawa detective Geller saw that video. That's a video that I posted up. It is the only evidence that the Crown has against me that warranted, in their view, 2 charges of obstruction and 1 charge of assault against a peace officer. As everybody can see, I am moving the gate, the barricade, away from people. There's no physical shoving or anything. There is, if one takes a little look, you can see that behind the police, behind the parliamentary security, because there was a great pinch point had. Like, this was the only access on the Parliament Hill. And hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people were wishing to get on Parliament Hill that day. So, and this was this extremely congested pinch point. So there was people bumping into others, but as a result of the pinch point that they had created with this great restriction. I was trying to alleviate the restriction so that people would not get trampled, people would not get hurt. There was also, what isn't seen so clearly in the video, there was also a great many people trying to, a number of people trying to exit Parliament Hill by the same egress and ingress route. And people were falling down off that, on that slope and whatnot, being jostled up above. So I saw this as a dangerous and unsafe situation, and is trying to alleviate that pinch point. So, but I also have witnesses that will testify to the same, eyewitnesses. But I want to bring back, you read one thing from the CBC story. Well, I was in this cramped concrete phone booth in the Ottawa jail, trying my utmost to hear the bail court proceedings against me, and it was difficult, and the conditions were well archaic and bizarre. That you're in this tiny little concrete cubicle with such hard surfaces, you can hardly hear anything with clarity. But there was one thing that I did hear was very clear, and that was the Crown prosecutor at my bail hearing actually fabricated a complete and entire falsehood from that video, and stated to the justice on the bench that I picked up that steel barricade and I threw it at a peace officer. That's what made it so that the court believed I needed to have these powerfully strong and suffocating bail conditions on me, and hold me in the Crowbar Inn until I relented, because of an outright lie and falsehood.
Now, you still haven't had any of those bail restrictions lifted, correct?
Not yet. But now that I am representing myself, a number of these people that I'm prohibited from speaking with, who are material witnesses to these allegations, we have to remove, if we don't remove a number of these bail conditions, then the bail conditions themselves will frustrate the administration of law and justice, because it will be prejudicial to my case if I cannot speak with and examine witnesses, material witnesses, and also go back to the scene of the crime, the alleged crime, and gather additional evidence. Indeed, because that's one of the conditions, I am not allowed to attend downtown Ottawa without legal counsel. Well, I am without legal counsel now.
So that's
So
going to be something that needs to be changed for sure. And I mean, a lot of these stipulations, Randy, that they put in, I mean, not only are they unconstitutional, but some of them are just straight ridiculous. I had a friend here in the Niagara region who, after the protests, they made it so he wasn't allowed to speak or be within 50 meters of an amplified device. Well, guess what? He wasn't allowed to go to the grocery store technically under those because there's an amplified device in there. So
yeah,
my buddy was actually afraid to go to the grocery store because he didn't want to get picked up on a technicality like that. So he was so inconvenienced that he had to send a friend to do his grocery shopping. That's pretty
so
bad,
this is
Canada.
another part of the predatory aspect of our legal system, Rob. These conditions were not warranted. They never were. I was being held in this concrete cubicle without being able to see what was happening and what was being said. I was not permitted to have a private conversation with my legal counsel to discuss the proceedings that were going on in bail court. It was finally relented under duress because there was no way I could have an adequate or proper discussion with my legal counsel about what we ought to do, because he was somewhere else. I was being held in this confined cubicle, and so I could not provide him instruction. I could not provide him direction. I could not seek advice or guidance or provide. So it was under duress that that these bail conditions were agreed to. And again, just for the audience understanding, these are mischief charges. And as you can see from the evidence in the video of this trumped up obstruction and assault charge, the Crown knew I was not a danger to society. The Crown knew I was not prone and have never been prone to violence or property destruction. I'm a 65-year-old grandfather. I'm, at the time, an elected member of the Ontario legislature. But I will give this for people's consideration of why we suspect that these are politically motivated charges. On these allegations, that video was taken on January 28th, 2022, pardon me. The investigation into this allegation did not begin till March 3rd. The day, so a full, 5 or 6 weeks later, the Ottawa police begin an investigation on me. The day after I announced to the public that I am no longer will be seeking re-election in the 2022 election, and that I would be retiring from elected office. That very day, 5 or 6 weeks after the alleged violent assault on Parliament Hill, the Ottawa police begin their investigation. They knew now that I was more vulnerable to the abuse of the legal system than had I not stated that I was going to be retiring from elected office. And and there will be much more. I have a great deal more evidence that I'll be sharing with the public as this trial continues. And, and this is, but the legal system, like the story you just described, it tries to impose an interest, impose a concept on people that they are dependent on this corrupt legal system for their freedom, that you have to become a victim of the legal system in order to gain or regain your freedom or restate your innocence. And it's a very, very perverse and distorted, where they and like myself, I then, after that bail hearing, I became dependent on my legal counsel for my voice. I became dependent on my legal counsel for my mobility, for my freedom of expression. I became trapped by this very predatory system, and that was also going to bankrupt me. So
it's that situation where we find ourselves kind of using the machine that we're actually up against, right?
Yeah, we have to turn the tables on this machine. Now we're going to put the pressure on the machine to act and conduct themselves with professionalism, with respectfulness, with consideration to our highest laws, our constitutional freedoms, and make them pay the price for their cover-up. Make them pay the price for their predatory behavior. Not you and I, and not so many good Canadians. We can't let them destroy any others. They've destroyed too many already.
They sure have, Randy, and I agree with you on that 100%. Randy, the one thing I wanted to ask you is, you've done so much for us, and I speak on behalf of all Canadians when I say we truly appreciate you, and thanks for everything you do. If people want to donate to your cause, because you have quite the financial road you're going down ahead of you, where can people do that?
So my defense is going to be much more frugal, but it still will have a cost, Rob. So, the legal team I have assembled are former retired lawyers and paralegals, people who don't owe their livelihoods to the machine any longer, people who are not part of the monster. And so they're providing advice and guidance, helping me out with researching on case law, developing legal techniques, and also preparing the subpoenas for the great many senior politicians, bureaucrats, law enforcement officers who are part of this machine, and I'm going to bring them to the stand and have them testify under examination by myself. And so there's still a cost of this administrative cost, this process cost, and so people can donate at nomorlockdowns.ca. They can also help out, rent Scuttlebutt Lodge, a great little camp here in Lanark County. If they want to come up and meet with me and enjoy some conversation and a campfire, you can book Scuttlebutt Lodge online and spend some free time in the wilds of Lanark County. And you can donate by e-transfer or online. And of course, my address is also on there if you want to mail me a check or whatever. But none of this money will be going to the monster. None of it will be going to the machine to grow it, and so that it can attack more. Uh, this will be just for disbursements and the administration cost of taking on the machine.
Randy, right now there are a lot of Canadians who are feeling depressed, tired, hopeless, completely run down. And I'm just wondering if you have a message that you would like to share with those people.
Well, I think this happened after the events in Ottawa, um, and I'll just for the audience to understand, I am prohibited from saying certain words, uh, and talking about certain subjects still. So I use words that are not going to land me back in jail, for a breach of conditions. But um, after the events in Ottawa, this powerful, exciting, exuberant, uh, motivating, um, uh, event where all our governments began to start announcing the ends of the mandates, all the mandates, the curfews, the masks, whatever, the mobility restrictions, the isolation. Um, and that goes back because they were losing control of the narrative, and they all had to appease this peaceful assembly desiring freedom. But after that, uh, when the law went after those people, like Tamara, like Chris, like Pat, like the Jerry Charlebois and the hundreds of others, um, the law sent a chill against so many, but also all these people, and myself included, now delegated our voices, now delegated our battle to this predatory machine called the legal system. We all hired someone else to be our voice, someone else to be our advocate. And, Rob, there is no better advocate for oneself than yourself. You know, if you are not willing to defend your freedom, don't expect a hired paid gun to do it for you. And, you know, I think we need to re-engage in this battle for freedom, all of us, in whichever fashion we can, and take charge of the battle that's in
I,
front of us,
I,
and no
I love
longer.
I love that message that you share, Randy, as we sit here and we have this discussion together. I'm not doing this interview with you because I grew up as a child wanting to put the news out there or host a podcast. And you're not sitting in Scuttlebutt Lodge right now talking to me because you thought this was what's going to happen in your life. These are the things that we're doing right now because we don't have any other option. It's time for us to take control in the right ways. It's time for us to event our own media. It's time for us to put our faith in one another. It's time for us to support each other and not support this machine that's always taking from us and never giving to us.
So there's another aspect I think I should add to that from what you just said, Rob, and I think this is true. You know, um, uh, we should have faith in God. We should have confidence in one another. Um, that most Canadians are indeed good, honest, law-abiding, and peaceful individuals. Um, you know, I think another part of where we've delegated our freedoms to, and delegated uh, our defense of our families and our freedom is, and we've done it falsely, and we did it to another machine, and that's called the established political machine. There are people who think, if only my political party gets elected, then they will be my savior. They're not. There are no saviors in politics, Rob. There are no. Um, each of the established political parties, whether it's red, blue, orange, or green, are corrupt. They are just as self-serving as the legal machine and they are just as monstrous as the legal machine, but in a slightly different way. So, um, you know, uh, don't sit back and think um, promoting your red team or your blue team or your orange team is going to win you your freedom or your family's prosperity and security. Um, it's quite the opposite. It'll be just like my experience and so many other experiences. Wow. Delegating our voice to others doesn't work. Delegating our defense of our families to others is a distortion. Um, it may sound convenient, it may sound easy, and that's all true. That it is easy, that it is convenient, but it also won't provide you the outcome you're seeking. It will destroy you as well.
Great message, Randy. All right. Well, I think we'll wrap it up there. Before we do so, where can people find you on social media? What's your most active platform or two for people who may not be following you already?
Well, if you're a YouTube person, I'm on YouTube, and I try to make it really easy. All my accounts are my name, Randy Hillier. Uh, so Twitter is at Randy Hillier. Facebook is Randy Hillier. The Instagram is Randy Hillier. And of course, there's also the No More Lockdown social media accounts as well on Twitter and Facebook as well. And my website, randyhillier.com, and the No More Lockdowns website is nomorlockdowns.ca. And for all those people who are not technically savvy, who are not up to speed with the internet and all these devices and machines, such as myself, I'm also in the phone book. So if anybody wants to find me, uh, uh, get a phone book. My phone number's there, my address there, and give me a call.
Well, all right, Randy. Well, I wish you the best of luck on all this. I know I'll be following alongside you, and I look forward to having you on again one day, and hopefully we can celebrate some good news.
Absolutely. We'll do that one day when you'll be up at Scuttlebutt Lodge. We'll sit around the campfire and have a beverage and toast to the victory of faith, freedom, and families in this country.
That's right. We got to have faith. We'll leave it at that, Randy. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.